Well, I'm going to admit to you I do not know enough about the Constitution and bylaws right now to make myself not look like a fool if I was to suggest some type of changes. I mean, as far as I know, it's functioning pretty well. When I was in SGA, it seemed to be functioning well. So no, not offhand. I couldn't tell you that. But if people have stuff they're concerned about, I'd be more than happy to listen.
Carley?
Well, we were talking about the veto power that the president has. I think that's an extremely powerful tool, but I don't really think that it should be used unduly. The president actually, by the bylaw or the Constitution, has the power to veto any movement that the SGA has within 10 school days. So perhaps a 2/3 vote from the Senate to overturn that or something like that. I've already made changes to the Constitution over the past years based on what my constituents felt, and I think that we should continue to build the process, but I don't think that at the moment there's anything I would change for the Constitution.
Brent?
I mean, like Brent, I'm not particularly familiar with the current Constitution, but I will say that I don't think there's anything particularly wrong with the rules or regulations. I think it's a matter of how people are choosing to execute those rules and regulations. And so I think that we just need to strengthen how we communicate is one of the biggest things. And as far as budgeting, I'd say between the clubs and organizations, I think that we just need to make sure that like the funding that these clubs are getting is proportional to the variety of students that this club is being made accessible to. So like if a club has the same 10 people who are the only people being involved with it, then their budget should be proportional to the fact that they only have 10 people involved in it, or at least people who are getting benefit from this club. So I think that every student should at least get the $50 they put into SGA. They should at least get that amount back out of it through benefits with these clubs and organizations.
Thanks. Nick?
Well, as vice president right now, I've had the fortune of, with Mitch, poring over bylaws for an hour or two. And first thing I'm going to say about them is they're old. There's a lot of things in there that we don't really know where they came from. Some things I think that need to be revisited is right now, where does the number of senators come from? It simply says you take the number of people in that organization divided by 70. For every multiple of that, they get a senator. I mean, there's no real rhyme or reason of where that comes from. So I think that there are little things like that all throughout the Constitution that just need to be evaluated. I mean, something that was set in 1995 doesn't mean it's correct now. So a lot of things like that, I think it just needs to be evaluated as a whole. As far as running the day-to-day part of Senate, I mean, that's all governed by Robert's rules, and that's good and fine, but I just think the little idiosyncrasies like that need to be evaluated. And then as far as policies and procedures, the treasurer's policies and procedures aren't set in stone. So I do think that at the beginning of the year, they do need to be evaluated because the goals of the Institute change. So I think it's just, you need to reevaluate it as a whole every year because the student body changes every year.